Sure. Where are you going?
I have to return some videotapes. I don't know why that line struck me so much. I thought it was so funny. I thought this movie was a fucking hoot. I thought this movie was so funny. Whenever he would say some shit like that, I have to return some videotapes, I was cackling. I was by myself in my apartment with my cats, cackling at this movie.
I'm gonna start using that when I, like, need to exit a scenario.
Sorry, I've got to go return some tapes. Especially now. It makes especially no sense now.
Well,
I love it.
I feel like that line's gotten memed, too, to a certain point now, especially more recently, but anyways.
Anyways, this is The Swamp. This is our podcast. The Swamp is also an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting.
My name is Dara.
I'm Emily.
And now we're saying our names at the beginning of the show. We're trying to get better at podcasting.
It's only taken us a year.
Wouldn't you know? Yeah, after literally 50 plus episodes, I'm like, I should tell them my name.
Maybe they should know me.
And I should also tell you that this is Male Manipulator March. We're doing Male Manipulator movies, and I'm actually pretty excited to talk about this one. I had never seen it before.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
I had almost no knowledge, really. I knew that there's, like, a really famous photo series of actors, and the picture of Christian Bale is, like, with the blood splatter on his face, and he's doing, like, a very, like, Patrick Bateman, like, look, and, like, basically I knew, like, that photo, I knew the movie cover, and I knew that he was in it, and I really didn't know anything else.
Interesting, huh?
Which is crazy, because I think it's considered to be, like, a crazy, like, cult classic, like, best of all time type film, right?
Honestly, I have no idea. This movie, to me, like, exists in a very weird space where it's just kind of, I don't know, like, out on its own, but, like, it's beloved at the same time. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Which is, like, I was honestly so surprised. I was like, that's weird that I don't know anything about this. But I kind of liked that going in, because I didn't realize it was going to be, like, funny. I didn't realize this was satire. I thought it was going to be, like, a horror movie, like a slasher fic, you know, kind of thing.
No, this movie is fucking silly.
I loved it, and the opening credits. Oh, so we're talking about American Psycho.
Yeah, by the way.
If you can't read. The 2000 film American Psycho, directed by, I should have written her name down. It's directed by a woman. I didn't know that either. Mary, starts with an H, I think. Ooh, I'm gonna look it up because I should actually say her name instead of saying directed by some woman. Mary Herron. Mary Herron directed, and she also co-wrote it with another woman. Written by two women, directed by a woman. Who knew? This is a feminist text.
Yeah, well,
I was not aware.
It was written by Bret Easton Ellis, but they didn't know.
No, the book was.
The book was. But I think this movie is just fabulous, honestly. Based on a book.
Written, directed by a woman, based on a book. And I guess I was reading that this book is almost 400 pages long, and this movie's
hour 40.
Hour 40, yeah. I was like, I cannot believe that. Not that 400 pages is, like, obscenely long for a book to be, but I feel like when long books become long movies, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it felt so succinct, too. Like, I feel like they probably didn't leave a ton of shit out. I read that the book is just a lot of, like, long-winded, gratuitous descriptions of violence. And this movie is actually pretty tactful with the way, like, you don't see a lot of on-screen violence. For the most part.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking murder movie. And it's very, like, implied, which I kind of liked. Like, even there was, like, some implied, like, rape and sexual assault. And I'm like, this is how every film who wants to do a sexual assault scene needs to watch this. And, like, you can so imply it without showing it. This movie, and even murders, implying murders without showing them.
Yeah.
Just, he does the axing and then the blood splurt to his face and we don't see the axing. I don't know. I kind of like that.
I agree with you. I like that but, like, for some reason, and this is the second time I've watched this movie. First time, I wasn't really affected by, like, the gore of it, which, like you said, there's kind of minimal gore, but for some reason, like, just the axe scene with this one made me curl up into a little ball and then crawl out of my skin promptly. I just hated the sounds.
But it's only because of what you create in your mind. Yeah, really, exactly. It's like only the implied, like,
which makes it better, or worse for you, but better for the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just think that it goes to show that you don't have to show, like, an 8-minute, like, people's guts pouring out of their body.
No.
And I get that sometimes that's like kind of what I want.
Yeah, if that's
like,
your
I want
thing,
a little
go for it.
on-screen gore sometimes if it fits the vibe, but just, yeah, on-screen violence and on-screen rape are just like things that I just never feel like are done well.
No.
Not that there's like a good way to do it,
No.
but in this movie I was like, wow, that was a tasteful rape scene, which is like awful to say.
David
but
Fincher needs to take notes, because have you ever seen Girl with the
Right?
Dragon Tattoo?
I have not, but I've heard.
Horrific.
That's why I've avoided
horrific.
it. That's-
Absolutely horrific.
I know it would like
Good movie,
make me feel
horrific
icky.
depiction scene.
Like a 14-minute.
Yeah, just genuinely so awful. Which, speaking of David Fincher, Fight Club broke, American Psycho woke.
Woke. I feel like this is our like male manipulator movie, but it's like if you like this movie, you're not a male manipulator. This movie, well, you would have to be like dumb as fucking bricks to like this movie and think that it's not like, if you don't get the heavy-handed like black comedy sarcasm depiction of that kind of shitty guy,
I don't know what to
you're
tell
just
ya.
fucking stupid. Yeah, you're just fucking stupid. But I guess if you're like the stupidest film dude bro ever, maybe you're like a male manipulator who likes this. But I think it's more like very apt depiction of misogyny is how it fits into our male manipulator.
Yeah, that's the pocket
theme.
we're splitting it into.
Yeah,
Okay, word.
because like. Yeah, he hates women. He hates women and he wants to kill them.
Yeah.
So and therefore he's a male manipulator. He probably would have loved the Joker.
Oh my god.
He would have he'd be the kind of guy who like sees himself in the
Yeah.
Joker and is public about it.
Yeah. He has like black and white Joker art in his black and white house.
No, but he literally has a Les Mis poster.
I know.
And I'm like, we are the same. I'm like, he's like, it's at eye level when he's pissing too. And maybe this is like really random and personal, but I have a really funny piece of art that it's, if you're a person who pees standing up, you would be at eye level with this piece of art that I've hung over my toilet. And I like cut off heads from magazine clippings and put them onto this like weird thing. So it's like Robert Pattinson and it says like sex clown underneath it. I
know
really
exactly what you're talking about.
I'll put a picture. Yeah, I'll put a picture up on our like Twitter or something. But I have some weird art in my bathroom. And so I really like that Patrick Bateman had a little Les Mis poster.
Yeah.
I loved that for him. But I guess to recap, do we want to recap?
Yeah, let's give him a quick one.
This is about a man, Patrick Bateman, played by Christian Bale. He's like a Wall Street guy. It's like the late 80s. And he doesn't really feel like he's the top dog or whatever, like in his group of peers. And then he also just kills people, but he's like subtle about it. And then
It's the thing, he's not at all subtle about it.
but they don't seem to notice or care because they're all too like coked out doing Wall
exactly.
Street shit. So it doesn't really matter. But basically, they're all comparing business cards, and the guy whose business card he's most jealous of, spoiler alert, jump scare Jared Leto for the second time this fucking month. I have to say, I watched this alone in my apartment by myself, and as the opening credits rolled out, every name that came up, I just repeated it back to myself out loud.
This movie is full of jump scares. Reese Witherspoon?
Reese Witherspoon? What? Willem Dafoe plays a fucking like FBI agent. I didn't know anybody was in this movie other than Christian Bale. That's all I knew. I'm stupid, I guess. But I literally was just like, Chloe Sevigny, fucking Jared Leto. I was like, this is a stacked cast. Fucking wild. But jump scare Jared Leto.
Every time.
Has a really nice business card. So Patrick Bateman decides to fucking axe murder him to Huey Lewis in the News, which is really fucking funny. And then he like kind of just covers up the murder, and then Willem Dafoe's a cop, and he's like, we noticed that this guy's been missing, and he's like, well, couldn't be me, but I'll tell you some like bullshit Wall Street shit. And then he goes to his house, he kind of cleans shit up, but then it kind of spirals. There's a whole thing where he like murders 2 sex workers with a chainsaw, and then he like kills a bunch of homeless people in the street, and I don't know, it's a whole thing. But then the big twist, another big twist at the end, is that he like confesses all of this to his lawyer, and then his lawyer is like, literally, I don't even know who you are, and also like you're just joking, buddy, that guy's not dead. So it's kind of left open. I ended at the end, like, did he actually kill all those people? Was it just in his deranged mind. It's kind of supposed to be up for interpretation. And this was the kind of twist ending, like, not to just keep comparing this to Fight Club, but, like, the big twist in Fight Club, I felt like I was being, like, curb stomped, like, bashed with a fucking metal baseball bat in the head with it. And this was, like, a nice subtle ending.
It's whatever you want it to be.
It's a, who done it? I don't know. And I don't know. I like that better, because then the movie gets to be whatever you want it to be. I think he did it, though.
I think he did it. I think it's the scene where he goes back to, oh god, Jared Leto's house. What's Jared Leto's name in this?
I don't know. Something boring. In the apartment, though, and it's being, like, sold.
Yeah, the apartment's been renovated.
That person never lived here.
Yeah, she's like, who? What was his name? And he was like...
That's why you think he didn't do it?
No, that's why I think he did, because she said, you saw the ad in the Times? He's like, yeah, in the Times. And she said, there is no ad in the Times. Get out of here and don't come back. Because they, like, cleaned up all of his mess and all of his blood and guts and gore that he left. Because he had, like, bodies hanging in the fucking...
Oh,
yeah, he didn't keep bodies at his apartment. Like, Jared Leto's apartment sort of became a staging area for all of his murders.
Yeah. Which, like, I don't know why you would keep them. That's gonna get stanky. But
I don't know. He went in there with the N95. I was like, I know that. I know that little piece of equipment.
I'm a little too familiar with this. But while I was watching this, I made a little column of red flag, green flag. Because
were there any green flags?
Yeah, there's actually quite a few.
The Les Mis poster, for sure.
The character of Patrick Bateman, the first one is definitely the Les Mis poster in the bathroom. Green flag. The skincare routine. Huge green flag.
Yeah.
A man with a fully fleshed out skincare routine, a man who uses something other than Dove barred soap on his face, green flag. Regardless of the situation, green flag. Yeah. When he's like, when my eyes are puffy, I know to put a mask on. And I know that we're supposed to, it's like, hey fellas, is it mentally unhinged to have a skincare routine? And I guess I'm supposed to think yes, but to me, no. Mm-mm. That's just self-care. Wellness.
Good for you. No, you don't just rub dirt on your face.
Third green flag, Phil Collins. He loves Phil Collins. Another huge green flag.
Also Whitney Houston.
He also hates Jared Leto.
Massive
That's the biggest green flag you can have, is that you want to kill Jared Leto. And then he was doing the Times the crossword. Another green flag.
Okay.
We love a man who thinks. The red flags was that he's rude to service workers, he has a job that requires a suit, and he hates women. Yeah. So, you know.
Yeah. He does keep a nail gun in his house.
Yeah, when he almost killed Chloe Sevigny with that nail gun, and then he didn't do it. That's like with that glimmer that he might have human emotion.
Said, I might hurt you.
He realizes that, and she said, "I'm so nice. I'm Chloe Sevigny. I'm your secretary."
Chloe Sevigny in this was giving Kristen Stewart in Twilight for me the entire time. Like, you can't tell me, like, Kristen's performance was not inspired by Chloe's. Because it's so...
That is kind of true.
It's so similar.
She kind of, like... She, like, kind of creeps down the corner and she's like, oh, hey.
Kind of meek and just dull.
Yeah, like, a little awkward. Yeah, but, like, also no discernible personality. That's actually quite true. But I thought it was so interesting because she was such a nothing character, and yet I feel like we know so much about her.
And it kind of, like...
Just, like, through subtle interactions between the two of them. I don't know.
It kind of left off on her, too, like, with her reading all of his, like, going through his journal and seeing all the horrific, disgusting little doodles that he has in there.
Literally, though, I was like, she could be like, wow, what a fun art project. Because if you look in the margins of the notes I take at school, it's like, the middle of the notebook is, like, diligent notes from the lecture, and then the margins are like, kill people, burn shit, fuck school, and I'm like, you know, drawing penises. And I don't know. So
like Seth from Superbad, it's just dicks everywhere.
Yeah, right. It could be like expressive. Maybe he's just trying to get his feelings about working on
Why would you ever go to therapy when you could just draw?
When you could just draw people getting murdered. I did really like that in the this last scene with Reese Witherspoon where they're at a fancy restaurant and he's like drawing the woman he just murdered, like with the little fucking chainsaw sticking out of her side. He's just like drawing on the tablecloth.
Yeah, with his crayons.
I like it. I'm like, I don't know. I'm here for it.
He's like fully distressed, like in a manic episode, and he's just like, Reese?
Also, though, can we talk about the like weird presence of like fancy restaurants in this movie?
Please.
Dorsia, when we can't get a reservation at Dorsia, so you fucking kill Jared Leto. I just love, I don't know, there's like that opening scene of them plating all the food.
Oh, I did love that.
And it's like very just aesthetically pleasing to me. And then they're like reading the names of the dishes. And wait, I wrote some of them down because they're just like, they sound kind of good, but also in that way that's like fancy restaurant food that like it's kind of bullshit, you know?
It's like braised duck in like a fucking turnip sauce, turnip reduction.
Peanut butter soup with smoked duck and mashed squash. It sounds so fancy, but like that, think about that objectively for a second. Peanut butter soup with smoked duck and mashed squash. That sounds like baby food. That sounds really gross. But the squid ravioli in a lemongrass broth with a goat cheese profiterole, stunning. Fucking a partridge cooked rare with a raspberry coulis. I don't even fucking know what that is, but I did.
I want to know what it is.
The weird presence in this movie of like, if you work on Wall Street, you like go to weird high-end restaurants that have like, you get a single scallop on your plate with like a dash of sauce, and that's it, and it's $100. At one point they say the bill,
it's like $500, what a steal.
And then when he brings Jared Leto to that like slightly less upscale place, and it's like the most
just foul,
offensive.
I would want to get drunk there. I want to get Jared Leto drunk there.
And then murder him to Huey Lewis and the
No,
news.
I'd definitely be the one getting murdered.
That's true. I kind of like Christian Bale, you can murder me while we listen to Genesis.
Can we talk about, I feel like the elephant in the room in this movie is Christian Bale's butt. I felt really rewarded watching this movie by the amount of times that I got to see his ass.
Yes.
Outstanding.
No, this is why this is a feminist text. Not because of the insightful depiction of like the corrupt mind of a misogynist psycho killer, but it's a feminist text because we get to see Christian Bale's tight ass more than once.
At least 3 times. I'd say at least 3 times.
Right.
I said, I felt rewarded. That thing was a scene stealer. I'll tell you that.
That's the only scene I knew about this movie. I knew he was gonna kill someone with an axe, and I knew about that workout scene. I had seen so many Tumblr gift sets of that like workout scene where he's wearing the little face mask and he's doing his like 1,000 crunches or whatever. Hot. Christian Bale is
him doing
hot.
crunches to like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Right. Also, this is, I think, the best performance Christian Bale has ever given. And I'm not just saying that because we get to see the cheeks. I think I cannot believe he did not get nominated for an Oscar for this. I think this is the best he's ever acted. Yeah, I do. I do believe that. I think this is better than when he was Batman.
I was gonna say,
I think he's the best.
Yeah,
Batman.
I'm pretty partial to the Batman movies, but I think I do have to agree with you there. I also really liked him in American Hustle, but I just like that movie a lot.
I mean, he's a good actor. He's like good in basically everything. But I really thought this was
you did not love him in Howl's Moving Castle.
No, don't steal it. That's my follow-up movie.
I love there's a TikTok that's gone around or that like one of my friends sent me a couple weeks ago or whatever. It's like oh, it was like Christian Bale and like Batman or whatever. He's like no, I was gonna say I'm Vengeance, but that's the new one. But he's like I started fighting crime after my parents died or whatever. And then like him and Howl's Moving Castle is like Sophie, Sophie. But like also like him in this,
yeah, I've seen that one.
Like I want to cut your throat and play with your blood. To Sophie,
Sophie. The range. Also, I always forget that this man is not American.
Every time. Although I do hate...
It's the Andrew Garfield
Although
effect.
I do hate his fucking voice in this, which I think I'm supposed to.
Yeah, but it's believable.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not annoying because it's a bad American accent. It's annoying because he's talking like he's fucking deranged.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I always like in interviews I hear his actual voice and I'm like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, everything he says obviously sounds like so rehearsed because that's what he was going for, but
I love it when they're like, they get the menu at the restaurant and they're like, the menu's in Braille. What? Sorry, I just keep thinking about the restaurant scenes. That was my favorite part of this whole
you just
movie.
get really
It's like the whack
yeah, just
fucking
super
restaurant
hungry
scenes.
watching this.
Also, I can't believe this. So this movie's an hour and 40, and I feel like this is a very plot-driven movie because there's so much shit I'm forgetting about, and then like it's just coming to the top of my mind. Like he has the affair with the co-worker's wife who's like on Valium all the time. Like that's a whole thing that gets played out like pretty in depth for multiple scenes, and it's still just like I don't know. I feel like this movie, it packs so much. This might be the most a movie has ever condensed, maybe other than like
See,
Shrek.
it's weird that you say that because for me, this movie almost got like a little boring at times in a weird way. I don't know how to explain it.
Maybe it was because it was my first time watching it, and I was so taken aback with like it wasn't what I thought it was. So I was kind of tickled by it.
Like it just felt like there was a lot going on, but also nothing going on at the same time. Like that doesn't even like. Can we just talk about going back to Christian Bale's ass? Though, is the chase scene. That chase scene where he's running after the prostitute with the chainsaw. Outstanding.
And then I love that he throws it down the like column.
I really thought she was getting away. I was rooting for her. But yeah, no. I was like, oh, she's gone. Which is she's screaming and running. If somebody was doing that in my building, I probably also would not. She was like she was grabbing like the outside rail of the stairs the entire time. I was like, sweetie, run on the inside.
Yeah.
he was in
zigzag pattern.
It's like how like if an alligator's ever coming at you, you have to run into zigzag or something because they can't like move like that.
No, that's also if you're getting shot at. If somebody's shooting at you with a gun, you're supposed to run in a zigzag because then you're a harder target to hit.
Speaking of targets to hit, that whole fucking scene where Patrick Bateman goes on runs around the town shooting anyone and everyone in sight. Let me tell you, that man has been at the gun range because he does not miss. Not once. Every bullet that comes out of that fucking gun is fucking hit. No,
Point
dude,
blank.
that's hitting flesh.
Honestly, I feel like if you're gonna divide up like the ambiguous ending of like, so out of all the murders, who did he really kill? All of them? None of them? It's up to you to decide. I feel like maybe the big spree at the end was like a panic-induced, not real.
I agree with you there.
Perhaps. Right? I think if we're gonna cherry pick which ones
so what do we think was real
and
and not real?
I think maybe the Jared Leto one was real, and then when he kills that homeless man in the street and his dog, like I think maybe that one was real, and then I think maybe him killing the sex workers was not real, and then maybe because that's that's the panic, that's the start of the panic, right? And then no,
because I don't know because I feel like those bodies were in that apartment and they had to get cleaned up. So I feel like the sex.
So maybe that one was
so
real.
the sex workers, definitely the homeless man. That man definitely kills homeless people for fun.
Yeah, so fucked up. I wrote down all like the quotes that I thought were just like so.
Yeah, give me your
funny.
favorite.
When he has the two women in his bed. And he does the same thing where he has Jared Leto drunk in his apartment and he starts monologuing about Huey Lewis.
He starts monologuing about Whitney Houston.
And then he has, I believe, with the two women in the bed, it was Phil Collins and Genesis. And he starts this big Phil Collins monologue, and he's like, intermittently through this, he's telling them to like undress and get on the bed. And he's like, get on all fours. And he's like, look at her asshole. And then he's like, Sabrina, don't just stare at it. Eat it. Like a hard cut from Phil Collins trivia hour to like, I'm gonna need you to eat her ass. But I feel like Patrick Bateman just like, okay, I'm not saying I could fix him because Although I've identified some green flags, I do not think, right, although I do have some green flags.
I was gonna say, you better know where you're going with this.
Mansplain, man whore, man slaughter, manipulate situation is just a little too much to overlook. I could not fix him. I could not make him worse. But I do think that Patrick Bateman just...
Do you think you could be his...
No.
Sorry, go.
No, his therapist? No, that would be like a Tony Soprano thing, and I just like, I don't have the degree for that. But I think he just needs a true crime girl. He just needs a girl who gets it. Like, he's out here, like, picking up women on the street, like, trying to get them to do weird violent sex shit. He just needs... Because he brings up a couple of different, like, prolific serial killers in conversation casually, and he's like kind of bummed that his Wall Street buddies don't really get it. He's like, yeah, John Wayne Gacy killed 800 children or something like that. I'm like, just get you a girl who listens to true crime podcasts. She'd be like, actually, it was more like 10,000. There's a lot of unsolved ones. Like can we just, he needs to settle down and just watch some documentaries, like find a true crime bitch to just express that part of your personality out with, and you don't even have to kill anyone. You can just watch some Netflix. That's my solution here.
I think you're onto something.
All right, back at it again with Chocolate or Vanilla with the lovely guest host, my mother, Jen. It's a game we play it halfway through the podcast. Jen calls in and she just asks us 2 questions and we just say which one we like better. Jen, how are you doing today?
I'm so good. How are you guys doing?
For the people at home, Jen has a mic now, so she's, like, kind of on the payroll. It's kind of official. Jen's kind of an official podcaster now, so this is kind of a big moment.
You say that, but then you made me pay for my own mic.
We'll buy you dinner sometime, Jen. I promise. We'll buy you dinner, and by buy you dinners, we'll make Henry cook you dinner.
Yeah. It's like an unpaid internship. Like...
Yeah.
We're not going to comp you for gas, kind of thing. But there's no payroll. We don't pay my mom. That's not how this works here. But is there a theme this week for Chocolate or Vanilla?
There is a theme. So since you guys are doing male manipulator and all these guys are a-holes, I did a full Chocolate or Vanilla about guys who are supposed to be really good guys in Hollywood.
Nice.
Really nice celebrities. We love a nice celebrity.
And I think what I'm going to do is make you pick between the 2, and then I'm just going to give you a little story about why they're supposed to be so great.
I love that.
All right.
I'm going to say that I'm suspecting that some of this is going to be like...
Not true.
Yeah, literally just like, you know...
Like, I'm so gullible, I believed it type of thing.
Well, maybe. Or just like, you know, oh... He was nice to me at a restaurant once. He must be really great, or something. But you know,
like Mark
I'd like
Wahlberg.
to believe. Yeah. It's Jen, I'm just telling you right now. If you have Mark Wahlberg on this list, you should revise your notes.
He did not make the list.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God.
All right, let's get to it.
All right. Also, I would like to plug and say it's easier to be nice than it is to be an a-hole.
Wow.
True.
Yeah. Let's spread some positivity during this male manipulator march. Yeah. It's easier to not manipulate than it is to manipulate. Yeah.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Vanilla.
Chocolate. Benedict Cumberbatch or Keanu Reeves?
Keanu Reeves. I'm just instinctually going to, in my head, be like, really? He's a really good guy? But, like, because, you know, I feel generally neutral about everyone. So I'm like, Benedict Cumberbumble? Wasn't he a choice last week, too? You're really on a Benedict Cumberbatch kick.
It is Oscar season.
That's true. I gotta go for Keanu.
Yeah, Keanu's just, like, anything I've ever seen him, like, in interview-wise, just lovely sounding, looking, just overall human being. So I'll go with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, definitely. I will pick Keanu, too. So I will tell you that Benedict Cumberbatch won't take a leading role if his co-star actress isn't getting equal pay.
Okay.
And Keanu makes huge charitable donations, and once he gave a staffer on The Matrix a $20,000 bonus because he was having family problems.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. I feel like I have heard stuff about Keanu, and I have to say, a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I don't like rom-coms, and a lot of you have come through with some really great rom-com recommendations for me, so I'm definitely going to have to go on a bit of a rom-com kick. But A rom-com that I did enjoy was Always Be My Maybe. It was a Netflix one, and Keanu Reeves plays himself in it.
Yeah,
he just like is himself, but he's like a total asshole, which I think is supposed to be like a big joke. Like he plays like a huge pretentious movie star guy, so I think it was supposed to be like, oh, he's actually so good and relatable in real life, but in this movie he's like being a dick. So that is one rom-com that I do like, to circle it back to that conversation from a few weeks ago.
Next one is Dwayne The Rock Johnson or Snoop Dogg.
So I know we're just picking which one we just like better, like flat out which one we like better, but I can't help but be like, who do I think is really the better guy? You know, like, is this like we're pitting them against, like, fight to the death? Who can be nicer? Like, The Rock or Snoop Dogg?
I'm nicer. No, I'm nicer.
These are two celebrities that I like both of them, but I think Snoop Dogg, the body of work of Snoop Dogg is just at a better level to me. Like, The Rock is just, he's in stuff that's, like, kind of bad on purpose. I don't know.
The Rock was Maui.
Yeah, I know that.
That's
Everything else.
I'm just saying he's
though,
it's like an action movie WWE guy.
true
Just
that.
it's not my thing.
Yeah, I can't argue with Dara. Snoop is the obvious choice here for me. I love that he cooks. He's got a cookbook now. I gotta get on his cookbook wave. His wine, outstanding.
Snoop Dogg has a wine?
Yeah, Snoop
Ooh.
Dogg has a wine. He's got a red and he's got a rosé. Both of them are pretty good.
I will take Dwayne The Rock Johnson because I love him. So Snoop Dogg is known for being super chill, and both are really, really nice to kids and youth, and they don't ever put it on social media, and they are nice to every single person they work with. Like,
And you know this because
I read it on the internet.
Because you actually have worked at the anti-social media youth center by The Rock. That's where you are employed when you are not getting unpaid by this podcast.
Let's see. Next one is Ryan Gosling or Daniel Radcliffe.
So I was going to wait to talk about this until next week, but as I edited this episode, so we're recording this after Emily and I had our conversation about American Psycho, and I have since been to Texas, and I have to spill the tea about some movies to you guys, because I got to see a couple of movies that came out before they like get released in theaters. So I just have to plug Everything Everywhere All at Once, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, and Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. All three that I saw, they were all A24 films, and I recommend all of them. Go see all of them if they're on streaming or if they're in your theaters. But I just made me think of it because I think it was called The Lost City. It's a movie that's coming out. It's like an action movie starring Sandra Bullock, but Daniel Radcliffe was in it, and he was at this festival that I was at. So I got to see Daniel Radcliffe from a very far distance away.
You didn't get to judge if he was a nice man?
I did not get to judge if he was a nice man, but I did get to see him from across the street. We've told this story a million times, but I love the story about how Ryan Gosling drank all the Haagen-Dazs ice cream to get fat for the Lovely Bones, and then they replaced him with Mark Wahlberg. So I have to pick Ryan Gosling, because I don't think a bad man simply would not.
You're right. I don't know, like, it's one of those things, like, I love Ryan Gosling, but also Daniel Radcliffe just seems like he'd be, like, a super nice guy. Also, there's this scene from this show. It's the one with him and Steve Buscemi, and he plays, like, an angel or whatever, and it's just him in like, not even drag, but he's got assless chaps on, and he's singing, he's singing that, like, she'll be coming around the mountain song and everything like that, and that's just one of those ones that plays in my head a lot. Just him as that. So, I don't know. For that reason, I think I'll just pick Daniel Radcliffe. Also, I feel like child stars are kind of, like, a little more, like, down to earth sometimes. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like either
it could go either way, you know?
Exactly. Either they're great or they're a mess. And I think he's a good one.
I agree with you. I'm going to pick Harry Potter.
He's more than that. He's
I know.
so much more than his work on that franchise. He has transcended.
He is the Swiss Army Man.
Oh, I did. Okay, not to cut you off, Jen, but I got to meet the directors of Swiss Army Man because they
Shut the fuck up.
they did Everything Everywhere All at Once. If you like Swiss Army Man, starring Daniel Radcliffe and Paul Dano, they just directed. It stars Michelle Yeoh and a lot of other really fucking cool people, but I got to talk to them and meet them, and they did a whole talk about how they pulled off this insanely high action, high impact movie with basically no budget. And just hearing them talk about like, yeah, we like hired people who like YouTubers, like high schoolers and YouTubers who like know how to do stunts, and we like had them come do them because that's how you make movies for cheap. And it's actually better than Marvel because when you have $1 trillion budget, you get comfortable. So but they did Swiss Army Man too, so if you like that movie, definitely check out Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm done with my South by Southwest talk from here on out, but
did you plug our podcast to them?
No, I was too starstruck and too embarrassed.
Should have given them a sticker.
I know.
So I will tell you that Ryan Gosling broke up a street fight in 2011, and he loves to take his mom to award shows.
I have seen that.
I guess she went and dressed up and had like a kind of a beehive hairdo, and she got there and she was kind of embarrassed. So he, on the sly, went up to Meryl Streep, who he didn't even know, and he was like, "Hey, will you tell my mom her hair looks good?" And she did.
I saw this Graham Norton interview.
You did?
You're right. It was very sweet. Yeah.
And Daniel Radcliffe broke up an attempted mugging in 2017. When somebody was trying to steal a Louis Vuitton bag from a girl. And he got, ironically, he got a little scar on his face from it. Not the scar.
I love that you, like, pitted these two against each other because they both have broken up a fight in their life.
Oh, yeah, I do that. And he is also, Daniel Radcliffe is a very big advocate for gender equality.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, he was in a horribly transphobic franchise that made him trillions of dollars. So I don't know if
he called her out.
I don't know if he's spoken about that, honestly. Yeah. I would just keep I would keep that
totally
HP money roll into the bank. So
next is Steve Carell or Idris Elba.
See, Steve Carell kind of shocks me because I think he's one of those guys who you would be like, of course Steve Carell's great, and then you would like read an article of like, you know, beats his wife or something like that. But I'm sure that's not true. But just, you know, when people who seem really nice on TV and you're like, there's no way that they're actually a good person because they're from Hollywood, right? So I guess I'll pick Steve Carell because Idris Elba like just seems generally kind of like neutral, but I feel like I would expect the worst from Steve Carell. So it's that the fact that he made your list, I'm glad to hear that he's okay.
I thought I didn't have like any particular stance on this, but I feel like I'm like reaching so far back into my brain, and I'm gonna like text my sister about this later. But I think one of the friends that I've met through her has like met Steve Carell. Like he has like a house in like the town that she's grown up in.
Wow.
And so like she's like seen him at the like interacted with him at the supermarket and stuff like that, and apparently he's lovely. So for that reason, I will pick Steve Carell.
Oh, good. I will pick Steve Carell also. And both of these guys are said to be very, very devoted to their wife and kids.
Oh,
And I was like, yeah, I bet Steve Carell hits his wife. That was horrible for me to say. False accusations on the pod. I just mean like comedy guys and funny guys. It's like, oh, of course they're like that in real life. And it's like, that's not always the case. I don't know. But glad to hear that Steve and Idris love their wives. We love to see it. The anti-male manipulators for Male Manipulator Month.
All right. Next, I'll go Tom Hanks or Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, Tom Hanks, I know his son is like super problematic, and he's been like pretty chill about like, yeah, my son is really problematic. Let's talk about it, rather than like doing the Hollywood nepotism thing and trying to protect his shitty son. So I guess I'll pick Tom Hanks for that because we love, you know, you got to call out your shitty family members.
it was Tom Hanks or who? Who's my other option?
Bryan Cranston.
Breaking Bad.
I just love Bryan Cranston, so I'm gonna go with Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna go with Bryan Cranston, even though I never watched Breaking Bad. I really
You would hate it.
I would hate
Very
it.
violent. It's about drugs, Jen. It's upsetting.
But everybody else liked it.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks collects vintage typewriters, and one time he gave a fan one who asked for it, and he said, as long as you do a typewritten letter to a friend once a week or something. But he gave one of his vintage typewriters to a fan.
Okay.
And then Bryan Cranston signed his autobiography and threw it in a bookstore and said, hey, to the bookstore, whoever brings this up to the cash register gets it for free. That's cute, right?
That is cute.
Yeah.
That is cute.
But also, I guess a fan called him out and they were like, hey, Heisenberg. And he flips his head around and he goes, all right, I got to get this quote right. How dare you call me out? If people knew who I was, I wouldn't be in this biz. Next time you call me out, you better be ready for a barrel. And then he started laughing. He was like just trying to like shock them.
Love it.
If Bryan Cranston started yelling at me in public, I think I'd shit myself.
Yeah, no.
I said, hey, Bryan Cranston. I would run away.
I'd be like peeing and shaking like a chihuahua.
And then he just starts laughing like, just kidding.
I'd be like, ha ha ha, yeah, you're so right. So funny. Thanks, Brian.
All right, next is Elijah Wood or Terry Crews.
Oh, it's really hard.
I can't believe you have to think about it. I know you love Terry Crews.
I do love Terry Crews. I'll have to pick Terry Crews for this one. I love Elijah Wood too, but something about Terry really just does it for me. I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine. His whole shtick there is that he loves yogurt, and I think that's really funny.
I think Elijah Wood just seems like a really sweet little guy, so I'll go with Elijah Wood. Plus, I love Over the Garden Wall, so...
What, is that a good movie, Over the Garden Wall?
It's actually it was a mini-series done by Cartoon Network a couple of years ago. Yeah, it was a TV show.
It's very cute.
Mm-hmm. So
I will pick Elijah Wood also. So I guess he's a big proponent for therapy, for like a mental health advocate.
Mm-hmm.
And people call him a genuine source of goodness. That's
wow.
And then
many people have said that exact phrase.
Somebody said that about him, which is like, imagine if someone said that about you. And then Terry Crews is a big part of the Me Too movement.
Yes.
And people call him a gift to the world.
Wow. Wow, we have a genuine source of goodness and a gift to the world.
Right?
Stunning.
Next one is Patrick Stewart or Ed Sheeran.
Oh!
Yeah, this is, again, Jen, this is when you asked us fucking Betsy Ross or Harriet Tubman. This is another one of those. Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, obviously it's Patrick Stewart.
What is Ed Sheeran? What is...
Yeah, I'm dying to know what Ed Sheeran has done to make this list, because...
To make him comparable to Patrick Stewart in a chocolate or vanilla situation.
His music is a crime. I don't understand how he's...
I'm already having a panic attack at the Trader Joe's, and then fucking Shape of You comes on, and I've got to book it.
Is it my age? I love Ed Sheeran.
It is.
Yeah.
I guess I'll still pick Patrick Stewart for this week, though. I feel like a loser. So Patrick Stewart meets with fans at his cons and like chats with them in bars for hours and hours. Like he never disses a fan. And Ed Sheeran surprises fans with hospital visits or at their wedding, like with a song.
He gets paid to do that.
No, he surprises them for free.
I just want to establish that the swamp is not a reliable factual source of information on any front. This is an opinion podcast. Do not cite this in APA, MLA. We will not be
Ed Sheeran to sing at your wedding.
Do not ask Ed Sheeran to come to the hospital to visit your kids, because he will say, go through my agent.
Next is Steve Buscemi or Tom Hiddleston.
Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a couple weeks ago, I was like, he was at 9/11, and everyone was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, everyone knows that. And you said, Dara, I think just you know that. And I see on your sheet that you are citing it as a reason that he's a good guy.
Yeah.
So.
Steve Buscemi, for sure, obviously.
We love volunteer firefighter Steve Buscemi.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I will go Steve Buscemi also. Because, yes, he was a volunteer firefighter after 9/11 because he was a firefighter pre-actor. Yeah. And which you had totally said. You were right.
Yes.
Of course you were right.
Of course.
And then Tom Hiddleston says he just feels lucky to even have fans. That's how humble he is.
Wow.
He says shit like that. And he goes to lots of meet and greets. Like if fans are waiting, he just like goes and meets them.
Steve Buscemi fought fires on 9/11, and Tom Hiddleston just feels lucky to be here.
It's an honor to be nominated.
No, I think being humble is such a good thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. I mean, it's probably bullshit.
It's easy to be humble when you
have
are
gobs
in Marvel
of money.
movies.
all right, this is the last one. Matthew McConaughey or Hugh Jackman?
I'm answering this just strictly on like I get to pick who I want to go have a beer with out of these two guys. Like, who do I think I'll have a better time with? And it simply must be Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. You'll end up singing by the end of the night with Hugh Jackman.
Oh, amazing. I can do the Russell Crowe parts. I've got it down.
Exactly.
We can do Les Mis and I will be. There's no demonstration.
They'll actually he'll call up everyone that was involved and they'll recast and just do the movie with you.
Oh my god, over a Zoom call? That would be nice.
I'm also gonna go with Hugh Jackman. I feel like he's one of those people that is like cited as being like a nice guy in Hollywood, you know what I mean? And Matthew McConaughey just kind of freaks me out a little bit.
A weirdo. I will pick Hugh Jackman too. I love him. So Matthew McConaughey quietly spends his Thanksgiving delivering Meals on Wheels with his family.
Once?
No, all the time. Every Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And Hugh Jackman very frequently buys food for his whole cast and crew on all his sets.
Gorgeous.
As he should.
Yeah.
As he should.
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey just wrote a biography, and I work at a library, and the moms want the Matthew McConaughey
Really?
biography so bad. I'm like, no, there's a 6-week wait, like a 6-week wait on it. Like, you can't get it. It's too popular.
That's so
Well, that's
funny.
surprising. So that was the end of Good Guy, Chocolate or Vanilla.
Wow, we love
Thank
to
you
see
so
that there
much.
that hashtag not all men. That there are still some good men, not only in this world, but in movies. So thank God to the Patrick Stewarts and the Elijah Woods, and maybe even the Ed Sheerans of the world, you know. Let's pour one out for the what's the opposite of manipulation? Like nurture, like
I don't
fostering
know.
good faith. I don't know. The anti-male manipulators. Thank you, Jen, for giving us all faith that it's not over for men. But this is good. I loved the little facts. Now I can be like, did you know actually that Matthew McConaughey founded Meals on Wheels? And they'll say, Dara, that's not true. And I'm gonna say, well, you can listen to my podcast to learn more. You can cite it in APA format. So if anyone uses, don't use this for research purposes. This is not
Never.
We can't credit anything we say. But if anyone wants to come up with a formal citation, I would love to put that on a sticker, like our last names, comma swamp, comma URL. I don't know. I don't know how to cite.
I love that. I'd buy that.
That'd be funny on a T-shirt, right? Like just the URL of the APA citation of the podcast. Then under it says Ed Sheeran, not a bad guy. But anyways,
We'll sing for free.
Anyways, Jen, thank you so much for this riveting male-based discussion. We'll have you back next week, as always, with your new mic. I'm so glad that you've finally onboarded as an official co-host of the pod.
I feel official.
And I guess back to our discussion about American Psycho.
Can we talk about that? You were talking earlier about how there's a lot of plot points that you keep forgetting about.
Mm-hmm.
That plot point where he is going to kill the boyfriend of the girl that he's having an affair
And
with.
then he's like, yeah, choke me harder. I thought that was so funny.
And you've never that's the thing. You see him spiral super hard at the end, down a whole rabbit hole, but you don't. You actually watch him in split seconds spiral so fast once this man starts hitting on him.
Accuse me of being a murderer, maybe, but I draw the line at being called gay. Is what I'm getting from that.
A misogynist and a homophobe.
Right, that's how you get out of it. Is he's trying to kill you and you just do some gay shit and then he's just and then you can run away. That's literally how that man was about to die in that bathroom and then he was like, I don't know, I'm kind of into this. But that was also, that was the husband of the woman he has been fucking.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's, so many weird interloping relationships and yet I don't know anyone's name. I don't know anything about anyone.
Not
but
a clue.
Reese,
just Paul Allen.
Reese Witherspoon is in this. Literally.
I couldn't tell you
what?
her name.
she's just she's there,
Couldn't
but she's
say.
not there. They're literally engaged, planning a wedding, and they don't live together. It's a little sus to me. But she's also your friends are my friends, so we should just get married. And I'm like, that would maybe also make me feel like a psychopath.
Yeah. Yeah, no offense. Evelyn Williams.
She was giving very Legally Blonde in this.
Yeah. that was the hard jump from Elle Woods in this to Evelyn Williams.
I also feel like maybe playing this role did help him prepare to be Batman a little bit, because I do see some similarities. Not a ton. I think it's mostly just in the dress and the, like, carrying yourself like a wealthy, confident man kind of thing going on. But I don't know. It checks out to me when you see this and you see Batman and you're like, oh, yeah, that's the same guy.
That's the same man.
That's Christian Bale.
Yeah. He just added an extra 20 pounds of fucking muscle.
Right.
Same dude.
So crazy. His body transformations, I know we've talked about this before, like when he played Dick Cheney, like literally what the fuck? Like
insane.
But did you know that Leonardo DiCaprio was supposed to do this?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple, Ewan McGregor.
I don't think he could have.
Ewan McGregor was on for it at one point, and then also it went through a bunch of different directors. Like at one point it was Martin Scorsese, and Leo was hot off of Titanic, and they thought that would make the movie really big, but he was asking for way too much money. Like, they had started the process of, like, him being in it, and he's like, I want $20 million, and they were like, dude, that's the budget of this whole movie. We
can't do that.
And so then he dropped it, and then they went through some other people, and then it ended up being Christian Bale. But I'm like, yeah, I really don't think Leo could have done this, because he tries to do the, like, lifeless businessman thing in Wolf of Wall Street, and I just don't think Leonardo DiCaprio can accept in his heart that he can play somebody unlikable. Like, I think he always has to put a little bit of, like, I'm charming.
A little charm.
Yeah. That's the thing about this character, is that he is not charming or likable in any way. His friends don't like him. His wife doesn't like him. Like, he's just kind of a loser. We are not supposed to find any redeeming qualities in him, other than I've happened to pinpoint that I like the skincare routine, I like the Les Mis poster. Those are very superficial.
Decent music taste.
Right.
That's about it.
But also, the fact that Ewan McGregor, I don't know if he could do it either. I would like to see that.
I think he might have been able to. I would have liked to see that. I know that Christian Bale, like, begged for this role, basically.
And, like, he, like, didn't audition for anything else for a really long time, because he was like, I'm showing you how committed I am for this, is that I'm not even gonna go on other auditions. That's how bad I want it. And they were like, okay, I guess. I really think this is the best he's ever acted. I'll say it. I think it's crazy that he didn't even get nominated for anything for this.
Yeah, no, absolutely wild. I do like how they did a lot of Willem Dafoe's scenes. I don't know if you've heard this. It was like the whole process of it was, I think they did 3 takes of him, like, with Christian Bale, and one of the things was, like, because you can never tell if, like, he knows or if he doesn't know that Patrick Bateman is the guy that murdered Paul Allen. But we
got his name, Paul Allen.
Paul Allen, yeah. They did it in, like, 3 different takes when Willem, like, approached it like he had no idea. He knew nothing about the entire shenanigans, murder type thing. He did another take where, like, maybe he knows, maybe he's kind of got a hunch. And then a third take where he was like, oh no, this is the guy. I know this guy killed him. And then they, like, spliced it up, basically. And so that's why you can't ever read his fucking character.
Gene. Yes, you should, at home, for the viewers at home, my mouth was just agape. That's brilliant. Wow, I love film.
Yeah.
I love women. That
was one of those really fun things to watch around, because I've only watched this once before, and then I found that out, and I was like, ooh, I want to pay attention to this.
Right. Also, Willem Dafoe just, like, I'm not going to say he doesn't age, because he looks very young here to me, comparatively to, like, what he looks like today, but, like, that man is, like, literally 80, and he does not look that different to how he looked 20 years ago. But I guess that's what you get when you're, like, Hollywood. But I think that this movie's fucking brilliantly directed, and I really think that it would have been so different if a man did it, because I don't think men are capable of having this type of, like, insightful... Like, you can be a man and you can recognize what toxic masculinity looks like, and you can, recognize, like, certain critiques on, like, that kind of shitty guy. It's a critique on Wall Street, on, wealth. It's more than just a critique on, men being shitty. But I feel like, again, I just really keep comparing this to Fight Club in my head, that, like...
No, I get it.
Those kinds of movies, like, that was made by a man, and it's, like, you can tell he's a little bit in love with the Tyler Durden character. Like, you can tell that he knows that it's, David Fincher in this case, knows that that's a bad person and who represents some sort of bigger societal thing that I'm critiquing. But also, he's kind of cool and fun and sexy. And I
but don't you want to be him? Don't you want to fuck him?
I do kind of want to be him, and I kind of want to fuck him. Like, it feels a little bit like masturbatory. Like, oh yeah, I'm exploiting all the worst parts about men, and it's fucking awesome, you know? Whereas I think with this, it's so, like, honest and flat, and, like, there's no, like, if it was a Leo and if it was directed by Martin Scorsese, it would, well, then it would just be The Wolf of Wall Street, but but then it would just be, like, we have to add something to him to make me relate to him, because he can't be that bad, because not all men, I don't know, not to say that male directors are incapable of this, but I think when I realized that this movie was directed by women, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense, because we are never going to find something redeeming in him, because that's not how he was written, because and that's not, like, I don't know, and
this is an actual man written by a woman,
right? But also, like, I really props to Christian Bale for, like, getting that. I know there's, like, a famous trivia fact of, like, he watched interviews of Tom Cruise to prepare for this role, because he's like, yeah, he's, like, a really friendly and somewhat likable guy, but just dead behind the eyes. You know, just, like, that totally, like, everything I say sounds a little scripted and a little off-putting, but yet you can't quite pinpoint why you don't like me.
It's because he's a Scientologist.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Good on Christian Bale for, like, getting it. The actors who get it, and the actors who don't. Yeah, this whole time I was like, wow, I wish this lady had directed Fight Club.
Yeah, really. Maybe I would have actually liked it.
I know. I didn't hate Fight Club. It just didn't rub me the right way. This movie rubbed me the right way. But also, I feel like all those scenes of him being hot, also, like, not to, like, joke that they were female gazy, but also it was like, he's the kind of hot guy who knows he's hot and weaponizes it to, like, mobilize himself in society kind of thing. Like, he's not working out because he wants to feel good about himself. He's working out so he can fit in with the people he surrounds himself with. I don't know. I just feel like every action he takes has, like, 27 layers of subtext, and, we get to see all of it, and it's like, ooh.
No, there's that whole scene with, like, him and Reese Witherspoon in the car, and she's like, why don't you just quit that fucking job? Like, you hate it. And he said, because I want to fit in.
Right, and he wants to fit in so bad, and they don't even know his name.
They clown him so hard.
He's definitely, like, the guy they all talk about when he leaves. I'm not gonna say I relate to him at all, but I do relate to, like, saying something and, like, thinking that I'm being funny, and then no one laughs, and then I follow it up by saying something worse. Like, it's like, you know, that scene in Lady Bird when she's like, I'll kill your fucking family. Like, when she's talking to Timothée Chalamet's character, and she's like, yeah, I'll kill your fucking family, and he just kind of looks at her. Like, I feel like that a lot, but then I'll follow it up with, sorry, I have to go return some videotapes. Like, I just do not. Once I flop,
that's basically this entire movie.
Yeah. And I was like, I kind of get that. Like, being in a group of people and feeling socially uncomfortable and then saying the wrong thing and then, like, being like, well, now I have to murder all of you.
Yeah. Oh. No one can be left alive after witnessing that interaction.
Okay, I know we skimmed over it in the recap, but I think my favorite scene, I think it's the most iconic scene, like, I think everyone will agree, the fucking business card scene is the scene from this movie, where he whips out his business card to, like, flex, and then everyone else takes out theirs, and he's slowly, like, realizing, like, oh, this one picked a better typeface, oh, this one printed it on nicer paper, and it's just, like, slowly, and then he gets to Jared Leto's, who's supposedly the best, and that's why he ends up killing him, because he's so jealous of his business card, which is just so fucking hilarious. But I'm gonna be honest, I thought his was the nicest, because the other ones that he thought were, like, on nicer paper, I didn't like the texture of them. I like the texture of his better. And I'm kind of a typeface slut. I don't know, like, I'm really, like, picky about, like, typefaces and stuff. And I don't know, I just thought his looked the nicest from you know, I'm no graphic designer, but
yeah, you're here to validate Patrick Bateman's business card.
See, we need to, like, watch some true crime. I need to tell him that his business cards are good. Not to blame Reese here. Maybe he just needs a cuddle. No, there's clearly something, like, deeply deeply and unchangeably wrong.
Everything could have been fixed if Patrick Bateman just got to be the little spoon once.
What is that? There's something going around that's like, I'm sorry I was not your mother or something. It's like this woman made a video about Vladimir Putin, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
She's like, I'm sorry I wasn't your mother, so I didn't like raise you better. But everyone's using it in like Euphoria memes about, what's his name, Sam Levinson.
Uh-huh.
They're like, I'm sorry I was not your mother. Like, I'm sorry I did.
Patrick Bateman. Patrick Bateman, I'm sorry I wasn't your mother.
Yeah. Could have just.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot to
I don't know
unpack
about
with
that.
So do we want to get into our regularly scheduled, even though you outed
Yes,
my follow-up
ma'am.
pick, but you
I'm
know
sorry.
me, I always have a loose handful, so I have a couple more. But
Okay, good.
so do we want to fuck, marry, kill? Who would are
just-
even the main three? I feel like every character who's not him is like on the same tier of like screen time. So do we want to say like him, Willem Dafoe, and Chloe Sevigny?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Because I don't want to put Jared Leto, because we're just both gonna kill Jared Leto. It's like not even worth. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, no. Let's do Willem, Chloe, and
Okay.
Patrick. Yeah. So
I would say I have to kill Patrick Bateman.
Yeah.
It's just like
I can't.
I just can't. And then I'm obviously gonna fuck Chloe Sevigny and marry Willem Dafoe. I think that one's
Yeah,
a little
easy.
too easy.
There's not much of a personality there for Chloe Sevigny.
She also needs to be the little spoon, though.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'd little spoon Chloe Sevigny. We don't have to fuck. We can just cuddle.
Yeah, I've heard that she's really difficult. I heard she's a very difficult person, and I love that for her. I'm like, you deserve the world.
She
you
was the
deserve to be
fucking-
as difficult as you want.
Yeah, what? She was a 90s it girl? Like, come on.
Of course.
I'll give it to her. And out of the whole movie, I don't know, like, no one stands out to me.
I'll probably also kill Jared Leto.
I do it with a nail gun, though. It feels a lot less
Yeah.
messy.
Also, I do love that he preps for the mess. He put down newspapers. He puts on the raincoat.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, we've got this thought through. Yeah, I don't really know if there's anyone I want to marry more than Willem Dafoe. Like in any given situation,
it's
I think I'm
definitely Willem.
Always just gonna marry Willem Dafoe. Yeah, I like. Maybe I'll fuck Reese Witherspoon. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't really know who I want to.
I don't feel strongly about any of these people.
Yeah, this
I don't
isn't
even
that.
I don't even feel that strongly about Willem Dafoe in this.
Yeah, he's like good. Yeah, and it's like I don't want to fuck Patrick Bateman. I want to fuck Christian Bale. It's like not the ass is not worth the fallout.
No.
And I am not that girl. I am not gonna be the person to turn it around for him. Could not be me.
Can't do it. Yeah, I guess fuck Reese Witherspoon.
Right? Because like the other hot woman he fucks is just like on Valium, and I'm just like,
no. Mm-mm.
I want to fuck the chef, whoever's cooked all those foods at the beginning. I want to marry the chef at the restaurant who we do not see. That's
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's very fair.
yeah. This isn't a very fuckable, marryable, or killable movie.
No one strikes
quite
me.
frank. What would you or did you eat and drink?
Well, I watched this morning.
Black coffee, honestly, could kind of pair kind of nice with this.
Yeah, basically that was it. I had an everything bagel with veggie cream cheese though, so that was kind of nice. I feel like you drink what Patrick Bateman would drink, and it's just gonna be a vodka water. Because
Oh, that's not a real thing.
I swear to God, it's a real thing.
Well, I know it's a real thing, but who? With
Trust me,
ice?
I've been in the room. It's a
Not
lot.
even a tonic, not even like a
Nope.
seltzer.
Nope. Maybe a little lime. You get a little lime as a treat. And for some reason, I'm gonna say something, and I have nothing to back it up with. This just came into my head while we were recording this. I think you eat ants on a log.
No, I think the
Nothing else. That's
there-
all you get. You don't get an explanation. I think you eat ants on a log.
My connection is that this movie came out in 2000, and how old was I in the year 2002? What was I eating? I was at
Ants on a
daycare
log.
eating ants on a log. I like that. A vodka water and ants on a log. Like, what an uncomfortable meal for an uncomfortable film.
Like, you're not gonna eat, like, something super nice, like a fancy restaurant meal that they're having right in there. So,
Right, well, so
you eat ants
I
on a
like-
log.
I like wrote down all the names of the foods that they said, like fucking like peanut butter soup with roasted and all that shit, but I'm like, that's just not feasible. And it's not even feasible to like don't make it, don't try to make it, don't get fancy takeout. Like fuck that. I think you should eat some like boring ass pedestrian freezer
Buttered
snacks,
rice.
but you need to plate it like it's a $100 meal. So you put a single pizza bagel with like a dash of ranch, a single French fry propped up on the side as a garnish. Like, how fancy can you plate like Trader Joe's freezer snacks is like the challenge here.
I like
what
that.
what I actually ate was there was a super fucking fire Trader Joe's freezer item that I found recently that I've been working into my circulation, which has been their inside out gnocchis. So it's gnocchi, but there's sauce and cheese in the middle of it.
Oh, fuck.
So, like, I put, like, a little bit of, like, pesto or something on it, but, like, you don't really need to put a lot of sauce on it, because when you bite into it, it's, like, almost like a ravioli. It's, like, filled with...
Oh, my God.
It is gluttonous. It is probably 9,000 calories, but I love it.
That sounds gorgeous.
I had them in a bowl, and I ate them with my hands. I just was,
Nice.
like, eating it like it was popcorn.
Patrick Bateman would have fucking hated you.
Yeah. So I think you do like really fancy platings of like the cheapest like Tyson chicken nuggets. Like do like dinosaur chicken nuggets and plate it like it's a Michelin star. And then also like some sort of like you could get really cheap champagne or like something that like looks expensive but feels cheap, like boxed wine or something, you know,
Yeah.
like you're pretending to be fancy but you're
Get
actually
Arbor
being
Mist.
crap. That's my
Yeah. But what would you follow this up with? I know I kind of burst one of your little bubbles.
Yeah, House Moving Castle, because I love, you know, range. Sophie! The range. But also I feel like the critique this movie does on Wall Street through the eyes of our, like, unhinged protagonist is pretty similar to the critique on, like, the American marriage that we see in Gone Girl through the eyes of our unhinged protagonist. So it's very, like, if you want to girl bossify American Psycho, go watch Gone Girl. They like similar vibe to me. Obviously, Howl's Moving Castle after this is perfect because like total
It's
vibe.
so funny.
Switch. Oh, The Matrix.
Oh, okay.
I just, you know,
No.
written by women, good movie, critique on society, kind of business-y at some points, kind of, I don't know. It just felt right.
No, I fuck with that. I, like you, I feel like I tried to find another Christian Bale one that was very not this movie. And I think you should watch I don't know what year it was, but his Little Women with Winona Ryder and
He was Laurie.
yeah, he was a charming little man. I loved it. Have you seen that one?
I haven't, but I'm familiar with it through the internet. I probably should watch it because
Outstanding,
I
I love
Little
it.
Women.
Yeah, Kristen
did a-
Dunst is in that. Susan Sarandon. Claire
Amazing.
Danes. Yeah, no.
Shoot, maybe I should watch it. I did a project on Louisa May Alcott, who grew up in Massachusetts, so I visited her house.
Nice.
And I was in 3rd grade, and then I like wore a old colonial dress to school, and I did a book report on Louisa May Alcott.
That's so cute.
Everyone's like, you didn't have to go so hard. We didn't have to dress up for this, but
Well, I did.
it was just me.
But besides that, I think if you want to go for a movie that's in the same vein, and I'm going to pick one that just dropped this week, I think you watch that new Daisy Jones, Sebastian Stan movie, Fresh. It's a Hulu original. It's in like a cannibalism sort of vein kind of thing.
Have you watched it?
Funny thing is, I haven't watched it. I've only read every review. But I was gonna watch it today. I didn't find the time. I was gonna post game with that movie, but I think it looks really fun, and it seems like it's on a very similar tangent. And I will redact this later if I feel like this does not fit the bill. But I think this sounds like a really good one.
No, I also was wanting to watch that. I was seeing a lot of buzz on film Twitter about
Also,
it. So
I love both of those actors.
Right, and also Hulu. I already pay for it, so I might as well watch it.
There we go.
What would you rate this out of 10? I'm gonna give it a 7.5, but I think that's kind of riding the high of my first watch. I think later I will settle into probably a soft 7. 6.5, soft 7. But right now I'm giving it a 7.5 because I really did like it a lot.
Yeah, I think my rating on Letterboxd for this was like a 6.5. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with a 6.5, 6. Yeah. I don't know. It's funny, but it's one of those movies. I don't think I was in the mood to watch it this time. But I got some giggles out of me still. So
I think now that I get it, like now that I've seen it and I get it and I get the vibe, I can see this being one I'll like return to when I'm in that very specific mood.
Exactly.
You and like it'll really get me.
Yeah. You have to be in the right mood to watch this, I think.
It'll really tickle me, yeah. So I'm really glad that we chose this for this month because I really don't think I would have ever chosen to watch this on my own because I really just like didn't know what it was about. So glad I watched it.
Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed.
This has been our third installment of Male Manipulator March. We still really haven't settled on our fifth movie, so if you have any hot suggestions, also about like future months, themes, movies you want us to cover, all that good shit. And even I love when people will suggest a movie that I've like straight up never heard of, and I'll like go and I'll watch the trailer, and I'm like, oh, something new to. So I don't know. You guys are always putting cool shit in our DMs, so keep that up. And all the links to all our stuff is in the description below. Links to our merch, to our website. I just redesigned our website. Actually, I gave her a little makeover.
Oh, it's super cute.
So if you want to go check it out, it's like basically all the same content, but it just looks really nice now. So give that a click. Also follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. Also our Letterboxd accounts are in the description. If you don't care, if you do care about our movie opinions outside of this podcast, feel free to follow those, I guess. And I was trying to think of some like nice parting words about like I wouldn't kill you. Like I would give you Phil Collins. I would give you Phil Collins trivia, and then I wouldn't murder you. We would just hang out, and it would be normal.
Outstanding.
In case you were wondering, I wasn't planning on killing anybody. And this has been an official statement here on the Swamp Podcast. We love you all. Goodbye and good night. 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 Goodbye.